And we are live back with a traditional new episode of your Wildest Fantasy Football Show. A little bit of a hectic one on Tuesday. I think that might have been my favorite episode, though.
That was fantastic. I mean, the only thing we were kind of missing was Kondo to get, the street view of the people, to really go out there, put the phone in their face, put people on the spot, and demand to know who they're taking. 1.01. That would have been, Jesus, cats are fighting. Small one just did a backflip right in front of me. It was pretty cool. Anyway, they're pretty kitty. Yeah, no, I liked the Tuesday show. It wasn't probably not as informational as people were hoping, but that sucks for them because it's your Wildest Fantasy Football Show.
Oh no, there were some real takes in there.
Yeah, there were some good takes.
And maybe that's why I didn't show the people on around me, because those aren't the experts like we are. Obviously, we know just about everything. So
I mean,
that was part of it. But yeah, that was one of my favorite shows. Like, we didn't argue. Obviously, normally a pretty argumentative show, especially when it's just us two. No arguments. I think it was mostly because we couldn't hear one another.
Yeah, the communication was off.
Yeah, however we can get there, I think is a real solid start. Today we are talking tight ends. We are also doing a mock draft, first mock draft of the year. Tody, how are you feeling about that?
I'm excited. I have yet to do a mock draft with Kondo this year. I think any year except for when we were in like our senior year of high school. So this is fun. This brings back good memories of sitting in art class. I like it. I'm ready to go. I mean, honestly, I don't think I could have been any more prepared for today.
Yeah, likewise. Let's start with the tight end rankings. Are you a fan of going early to get a tight end, or vice versa, going late, picking up a guy at the very last spot?
Is both a correct answer? Because I tend to see I do have myself in some drafts picking up, depending on where you are, picking up like a Mark Andrews, a Travis Kelce, a Kyle Pitts, nice and early, and then sleeping all the way through, getting my second tight end as an Irv Smith, a Noah Fant, Robert Funyun the Onion, one of those hopeful guys later on in the draft. Some kind of a both, but it's both in the same draft, if that makes sense. I normally double up my tight ends, 1 for scarcity, 2 for trade value, and 3 if you can have a positional advantage going into a week. You are going to, or you should be looking to try to have as many positional advantages going into each week as possible.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier, I think when we were doing our AFC North show.
Yeah.
I am typically similar to quarterbacks in the regard that not going to go up a ton to get a tight end typically, unless it's somebody that I really like or somebody where I really think the value is there. Luckily, this year, I do think there are a couple guys where the value is there to go up and get them in the second round, in the sixth round. But typically, I'm not going tight end until that 9th, 10th round. I don't think you can really afford to go much later than that, unlike quarterback, where I think you could wait until maybe the very end of a draft and get a Kirk Cousins or get a Matt Ryan or get somebody of that nature, and then wait until somebody drops a quarterback and pick somebody else up. I wouldn't want to go into the season with anybody outside of the top 10, and maybe even outside of the top 9. But I agree with you that some of those later round guys, those, for me, Logan Thomas, Irv Smith, Freiermuth, those guys can be good backing and guys to bring in, like, who's really there in the final round of your draft.
Right.
At other positions, I think that those guys at the tight end position can provide more value than maybe somebody that you would take with the 16th pick otherwise.
Mhm.
Anyway, who is a guy that you, for the value, are really interested in this year? Because, like we said, number one, I think unanimously for us is going to be Travis Kelce. Is that correct?
Travis Kelce, I believe, has the most upside. Depending on if it's a home league or if it's like a more casual league, depending on your league, he just goes too early for my liking.
Yeah.
Because the
I just
ADP,
meant
yeah.
like rate number one spot in your rankings, no ADP considered.
Oh, no ADP considered. Yeah, Travis Kelce is my guy.
Correct. And I guess what I'm asking is where is your top choice value, ADP considered guy that you're targeting? Because I think we're both probably not huge on Kelce or some
Right.
of these other guys where the value is.
Right. Kyle Pitts is my guy. ADP 36.6, so end of the third. You can pick him up anytime in the third. I said it last year. I'll say it again, or I said it earlier this year. Sorry. He had over 1,000 yards receiving last year, only one touchdown. He is the focal point of this offense. He did this as a 20-year-old rookie. He had 1,000 yards receiving. Most tight ends, when they come into the league, they aren't that productive. They take a little bit of time to grow. Even the Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews of the world, they take a year or two to kind of get into the league. Kyle Pitts is special. Raw athlete. His football IQ will only continue to grow. He's only going to be able to get more open, be able to read a defense better. And he only had one touchdown last year. I don't think at the end of the year we're going to be, Kyle Pitts only had one touchdown. I could see him having 7, 8, 9 touchdowns this year. I could see him being a true force. And the fact that you can get him in the third round, if you play your draft right, you could have the number one running back, number one quarterback, number one tight end. That's a huge positional advantage going into each and every week if you play your spots right.
So you think Kyle Pitts can finish as the number one tight end in fantasy?
Yeah. Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts are all my tier one tight ends. These are all the guys who I think can reasonably, without crazy, improbabilities happening, be the guys who finish as tight end one this year. All of them have. None of these guys have a strong wide receiver to compete with them. And all of them showed last year that they can be relied on to catch the ball when it's time for them to, be fed the ball. They're ready to eat. These guys are good to go. And I think picking them up in the third round is a great choice for arguably the number one tight end in fantasy at the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on Kyle Pitts too long because we've already had this discussion.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What my guy, I think there was also arguments about when we talked about the tight ends earlier in the year. It's probably Dalton Schultz. I have him as my tight end 4.
Okay.
He's going as tight end 6 at pick 65, so that's like fifth round, I believe.
65, yeah, give or take, 5th round.
Yeah. I just think with how productive that offense was last year, as far as moving the ball, throwing the ball, scoring, really whatever you look at, it opens things up for Dalton Schultz to be a top guy. And when you see the numbers he put up last year, finishing as the tight end 3 in fantasy, if he's able to replicate anything that he had last year, particularly without Amari Cooper, without Michael Gallup to start off the season, with Jalen Tolbert, who I like, but there's no track record that is there that says that he is going to be a definitive number 2 guy while Michael Gallup is out, and definitive number 3 guy when Michael Gallup is back. CD, while I like him, has had his ups and downs. I think Dalton Schultz is going to be a very consistent option on one of the better offenses in the NFL. And I don't think that that's going to really steer you wrong. When you look at those consistency guys, there aren't many of them. I mean, we know Baller is going to have his weeks, especially now with all of the other weapons around him. Same thing with Dallas Goedert. You could say the same thing with Zach Ertz when Nuke Hopkins comes back into the fold. I really like Dalton Schultz this year. And he was kind of the opposite of Pitts as far as scoring a lot of touchdowns. But I don't see that regressing much because of the offense that he's on, and an offense that's going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, I think when we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that was before a lot of the injury news kind of broke. Their O-line is now officially completely banged up.
Tyron Smith out for months.
Yeah, I mean, the muscle was off the bone. Wishing him a speedy recovery. Probably one of my favorite O-linemen to get whenever I play, any Madden. Love him. Huge guy, very reliable, focal point for that team. So I'm with you. They're going to have to pass more. Their run game is going to take a hit this year. So I think I'm growing on Schultz. I still have him as my tier 3, but he is my tight end 7. I'm not. He could move up. It's just I see more offenses with less positive people on their team. We're going to have to throw to the tight end. Whereas Dalton Schultz has CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup will come back soon. They have Zeke. They have Tony Pollard. I'm with you. He is a good target guy. For the past 2 seasons, he averages about 10 yards a reception, which is great. I just think touchdowns are going to come down a little bit. I don't think the team is as powerful this year. Now that their own line's, getting banged up. But for a 5th round pick, depending on how your draft is going, I could see Dalton Schultz being a fantastic add to a team. I don't hate it. He's a guy I'm kind of I've steered away from, but I think it's more of just my draft strategy so far has kind of steered it to where I'm getting a great top guy and a great bottom guy. So I'm kind of needing the 5th and 6th round to get other players at more promise or at more volatile positions.
2 things. I'm glad I got the Toady seal of approval in saying, quote, I don't hate it. That's awesome. That's always a good thing to hear.
It is awesome.
And then another thing to note, Toady's going top and bottom guy, thinking about both. And I mean, that's kind of reasonable.
Yeah.
Let's get into the overrated, underrateds. Just pick one player for each. Who do you think's overrated and who do you think is underrated at the tight end position currently?
I think Dawson Knox is a little overrated.
Wow.
Yeah. Hot take, maybe. I don't know. Just not he gets lucky with touchdowns. He had less than 50 receptions last year. Is that kind of what you're if that's what you're looking for, is this touchdown upside, and you're just kind of Hail Marying the tight end position, fine. But he's not going to pay off those other 7 weeks. So you're and you don't really get to pick and choose when those touchdowns come. So for me, he's not the volume guy. He's not the massive yards per catch guy where Kyle Pitts is averaging 15 yards a reception. So 3 of his receptions gets him 45 yards, whereas Dawson Knox gets 3 looks and
he's averaging 12 yards. I feel like that's pretty good.
I don't know. But you're only getting 49 receptions, sorry. And
I could agree with that.
yeah, so for me, that's why he's overrated. I just don't have myself drafting a lot of Dawson Knox. Underrated guy, David Njoku. They're gonna have to throw a lot. Um, actually, let me rephrase that. They're gonna be able to run the ball whenever they want. They have Nick Chubb, they have Kareem Hunt, they have Dearness Johnson. When they do have to pass the ball, they have Amari Cooper, but are you going to trust Jacoby to get the ball out there? I don't know. I trust Jacoby to throw the ball into the middle, where David Njoku, who's just, with all politeness in the word freak, I'm going to use the word freak athlete. I mean, just a monster of a man, an amazing guy, fun to play in Madden, fun to watch play in the actual, real world. So for me, a guy who I just think is a little underrated is David Njoku. I think he could surprise people. Currently rated as tight end 17 for ESPN. I could see him breaking top 12.
Interesting. Yeah, I think my overrated is pretty well known. I again don't want to dwell on it too much. Kyle Pitts. I just think I don't think he's going to be awful. I mean, like you said, he had 1,000 yards last year. I have him as my tight end 6. I just worry more so about the offense than him. And while that touchdown number should go up, I just am worried that it's not going to go up by much. Where with these other guys, I can look at these other guys in the top 2 tiers, I should say, like a Kelce, Andrews, Waller, Schultz. I can see all those guys having the possibility for 10 touchdowns. And I just don't see it with Pitts purely because of the offense around him. And I don't have high hopes for that offense. And with underrated, I think there's 2 guys. One guy you already talked about, and I wasn't planning on picking for this, was Dawson Knox. I didn't see or didn't expect to see him going as tight end 12 in this behind Pat Freiermuth, Mike Gesicki, who may be on the trade block. There are rumors about. I think that touchdown, I mean, he's kind of like a Tonyan in the regard that he is that touchdown guy. If you're drafting him, that's probably what you're drafting him for, but he's in the perfect offense to do it, and they're losing targets. And he seemed to be a consistent red zone threat for them. Now, I am as my tight end 9, so I don't know that I would go just with him. I think, like you said, I would go with a bottom guy, maybe somebody more stable, can really hold things down. While the other one is a little bit more of a wild card, a little bit more all over the place. You need somebody to rein it in. Anyway, I think another person for underrated there would be Logan Thomas. You see Carson Wentz, a guy who likes to throw to the tight end a lot. You saw that with even the Colts tight ends who weren't that great when he was there. And you saw that probably more so with Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. So I think that Logan Thomas, when fully healthy, could really make a big impact this year. I think people forget about how good he is.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget. I think with injuries, there's 2 things that happen. People just they overestimate how good someone will be when they come back. They kind of forget about their down weeks. And then the other case scenario is you get injured and people just forget that you were a monster before you were hurt. Just 2 sides of the coin. Interesting. I like Robert Tonyan. I do enjoy Robert Tonyan. Aaron Rodgers famously belittled, emasculated, shit on, unceremoniously despise rookie wide receivers. And so I think Robert Tonyan, a guy he has a rapport with, someone who he knows he can trust, I think he's going to have a good year.
Yeah, that has been the talk of the town that he just does not like his wide receivers. So maybe out of spite, Tonyan's going to have a tight end, top 5 tight end year, just purely out of spite. Who knows?
I think Aaron Rodgers, being the psychedelic man that he is, probably went home, took some ayahuasca. I don't know what ayahuasca is, but it sounds like it'd be a drug.
I'm
Took the
just proud
ayahuasca.
that you said it right.
Me
I
too.
don't think I could.
He took it, and he was like, you know what? If I live through this experience, Robert Tonyan will be the tight end 1 this year. And he lived through it. So I think it's going to be a great year for Robert Tonyan, the Funyun. I like it. And he's free. I mean, he's literally free in most
Yeah.
drafts.
He
Most,
might be
yeah.
he might be Dawson Knox without having to pay the price tag of Dawson Knox.
Right. Dawson Knox, you're paying, he's going 122. So you're kind of taking, what, 11th round pick on him?
Mm-hmm.
I think, 10th round. I'm not good at math. I think it's 10th.
You're investing something of value. We're not doing that for Tonyan. Now, with Tonyan, we don't know if he's going to play week 1. That's probably the bigger concern there. But let's go into the last thing here before we get into the draft, and that's favorite tier. Of your tiers, which one really catches your eye as the one where you're like, okay, this is probably where I'd like to get a guy from? And every tier has a drop off, but maybe this is the one with the biggest drop off.
For me, I have I have 4 tiers this year. I think my tier 3 has the most people in it that could finish as a top 4 tight end this year.
Okay.
It has a Dalton Schultz, Dawson Knox, Pat Freiermuth, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, David Njoku, Cole Kmet. I can see a clear path for each one of these guys to finish as tight end 4 or better this year. I could see, I mean, obviously, like the David, the Cole, the Dawson Knox, those guys are their path a little more crowded. Pat Freiermuth is a guy who I could see him getting 120, 125 targets just because he's right near the line. He's going to get a bunch. Probably build a rapport, get a couple falls into the end zone. He's going to have a great year. Dalton Schultz, I think they're going to have to pass. It is crowded, so there's a risk with all these guys. But my tier 3 is kind of like the risk reward factor. Like if I can do my draft right, I get 1 or 2 of these guys on my roster.
I was also going to say my tier 3. I have 6 tiers, but hopefully you're not taking anybody in my 15th, which is, I mean, you can make an argument for some guys. I have Gesicki, Fant, Tonyan, Henry, and Gerald Everett in there. I wouldn't feel great relying on any of them. But tier 3 for me is Ertz, Hawkinson, Goddard, Kmet, Dawson Knox. I just think those guys are the last of the, okay, I may have this guy on my team as my starting at tight end for the whole year.
Right.
Because once you get into the Logan Thomases, there, Smiths, Pat Freiermuth, then it's like, okay, hopefully these guys are good for a couple weeks until I can manage to get somebody better. I think that there's at least some hope with any of those guys, which is something that you would prefer.
Hope is always a good thing.
We have a new commenter, one from last year.
Right. J-Kin40. Man, we should get this guy on the show or something.
We haven't heard from him in ages.
Yeah, it's been a long time. J-Kin40, Toady, who would you rather take, my broken car or Kyle Pitts? Well, J-Kin40, hope you have a speedy recovery with your car. Hopefully you treat it nicer next time in the future. Don't yell mean things at it. Don't honk its horn at pedestrians. Maybe don't hit pedestrians with your car. But I would still take Kyle Pitts because I am, in fact, trying to sell my car. So I don't need a broken car and my broken car. I just need Kyle Pitts to win my fantasy league so I can have more money.
Yeah, all good advice there as far as
Mhm.
not hitting pedestrians, and smart to not want 2 broken cars, when you could have a fantasy player as the alternative, much better for that. I would probably take your broken car just because obviously low on Kyle Pitts. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, maybe JK40. Our co-host has not been here in a
and
long time.
I think 2
So
weeks. Yeah, it's been a long
yeah,
minute.
that guy really stinks. Maybe JK40 can take over. Who
Yeah,
knows?
JK 40. You have a clear path to stardom here, just like Kyle Pitts does. So all the power to you.
All right, let's get into the mock.
Let's do it.
I'm just surprised that showed up right. Okay.
Nice.
Take all this stuff off screen. Beautiful. Okay, so 12 teams, half
Mhm.
point PPR, 16 rounds. I think everything's pretty normal outside of that.
Yep.
I will be picking from the number 2 spot. Tony
Nice.
will be picking from the 11 spot.
Oh yeah, baby.
Give us some different options to choose from. Anything
Oh,
else that
we do have a surprise appearance here.
will they be okay? I I guess we can do that. J well, now it's not even J 40. This is J 15 So this is
Oh
probably a
my
whole new
gosh, this
guy.
this is a different guy. I don't
Yeah,
know how he got into the league.
there's a lot of Kins out here. Um,
Hard out here for the Kins.
well, apparently J 15 Kin will be picking from the number 5 spot as a surprise. Probably a relative of J 40. I see the same little I
I
don't know
see the
what to
same
call it.
J. Yeah, the same J, the same Kin. It's just a number difference. Maybe.
I just see the icon. I see the same little
Oh,
boopster. That's the
yeah.
only thing that I know to call it. It looks like a little boopster.
I think for the show we should just not refer to him as J15 Kin. We should just call him Lil Boo.
Little boop. I
Lil
like
Boop.
that.
Lil Boop.
Little boop
Lil
taking
Boop.
the 5 spot.
Nice.
Um, and I think we're ready to draft.
We're
So
ready to
let's see
go.
what we can do. Number 1 pick, Jonathan Taylor. Pretty
Wow.
chalk.
What a
This
shock.
guy's not spicing things up at all. Let's be a little
Unbelievable.
adventurous. Uh, but maybe he's just a plain top bottom guy like you. I'm gonna go
Amen.
also chalk. Because actually my number 1 player on the board, so maybe not chalk. If I was to go number 1, this player would not be here. That's what it means to have him as my number 1 player. And I'm gonna take CMC. I just feel like if
Okay.
healthy, which is a big if, CMC is the best player in fantasy football, and I'm kind of just like crossing my fingers and banking on the fact that he doesn't get hurt for a 3rd year in a row. I'm just saying like this can't happen again, right? So
Right.
I'm gonna go CMC here, and now it's time to see who Lil Boop takes.
Lil Boop. Lil Boop is
I
on the
I
clock.
may have
Derek.
drafted with
Yeah.
Boop before,
Mhm.
and they are a notoriously long drafter, and they cannot, if they're listening, take a long time to draft because they are giving no insight. So that's
Absolutely zero insight here.
I feel like that
Yeah, we
has to be known that they have already taken too much time to make their pick.
yeah. I mean, I think we should have probably bumped the time down from an hour maybe to a minute for Lil Boop.
Yeah, Lil Boop is really messing this whole thing up.
Yeah, Derrick Henry and Dalvin went after. It's interesting.
Do you agree with that order?
No, um, I don't hate it. They're all in my same tier. I just think Dalvin is going to be utilized in a much better way. Oh
Okay,
my,
Lil Boop finally made a
Lil
freaking
Boop
pick.
going Austin Eckler.
I feel like that's depending on what you want to do there, that could make some sense.
Yeah.
Real question is, where are you going here at 11, Toady? Some great
At
options on
11,
the board.
there is a lot of options. The only problem is I'm at a turn, but not a turn. So the guy I want could be swiped from me here, and I don't like it. So a guy I'm really high on this year. He's going to be on a fantastic offense. Tight end's a little shabby, not really that good. Give me Stephon Diggs, baby.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, Stevante and Aaron Jones go. And my guy is going to come back to me.
I want to ask, before you make that pick,
Right,
what made you go Stephon Diggs over Devontae Adams?
The tight end situation.
Okay.
Waller the baller, is a tier 2 tight end for me. Hunter Renfrow is a fantastic second option. I think Gabe Davis plays a different sort of role. And Dawson Knox he had less than 50 receptions last year. He had a lot of touchdowns. It was almost 20% of his target or his receptions were touchdowns. I just don't like that for my guy. So for me, getting Stephon Diggs, I think he's going to have a better year. And the guy who I'm also not worried about this year is Alvin Kamara.
Interesting.
It's looking like this is like the trial or the hearing isn't going to be till late September at the earliest. So I'm really not worried about it at all. I think he's going to be fine this year. I think 2023 is going to be a different story. But for drafting this year, give me Alvin Kamara. I mean, the guy's an amazing back.
Yeah, I think we all know my concern. I'm a little bit more just anxious in general. But when it comes to Alvin Kamara, I think it might be because I dealt with the Kareem Hunt situation when he was kicking, for lack of better words, and was suspended late in the year when I needed him most in the fantasy playoffs, and I just don't need that to happen again. This kid stinks. He's taken a full minute to pick. He's taking over a minute to pick. He's making it the little boop show. This isn't a little boop show.
This ain't Lil Boop, bud.
Wow.
Okay.
I love it. He went Mark Andrews, though.
Lil Boop building the team.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows who I'm going with. I don't really have to say too much. Most underrated running back in fantasy football right now. And now I have some options. I don't really know what I want to do. So this is going to be a little boop turn. This one's going to take a minute.
Yeah.
Because you got Javonte Williams. Not sure how the split's going to be there, but you like Javonte Williams. Also, this guy went Zeke and CD loading up.
He is going all
on them
in.
Boys.
Yeah, he's going all in on
them. You got Mike Evans. You got to love Mike Evans. Just consistently, not the most consistent guy throughout the year, but he's going to have you weeks where he wins. Going to have you weeks where he scores like 3 touchdowns, and you're like, heck yeah, Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Got A.J. Brown in some new threads. You got Keenan Allen. You got James Conner. You got Kyle Pitts.
You do got my boy Pitts.
I'm going to be... I don't want to go Mike Evans because I have Fournette. I'm going to be a little interested in here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I normally don't do this. And I'm going to go... I'm going to go Javonte. I feel like Javonte is risky for his usage, but he's also on a good team to where he is one of those guys that can score a lot of touchdowns to make up for it.
Right.
I'm going to load up on my running backs and go with Javonte.
Running back heavy is an interesting strategy. Lil Boop does go James Conner.
Boop takes James Conner.
Oh, come on! Both of my boys just went. I wanted to go Kyle Pitts and then Jay Herbert. Oh, this throws a whole big banana boat, dude. Oh, I hate that. Okay. Oh, my God. I'm actually upset about that. I'm so upset. All right. Damn it. Okay, that was my pick, so give me a second. I am going to go
Heartbreak.
Brees. I am going to go Brees Hall, just so I can get some more time. Brees Hall, I think, is going to have a fantastic year.
So you can get more time?
Right,
We have an hour to pick.
Right, but I get Brees Hall, and that's a guy who I want.
Okay.
I
thought you were just taking him purely for more time. I was going to say, you have plenty of time.
I want Brees Hall, but I wanted Kyle Pitts and Justin Herbert. So this throws a huge wrench into my plans now. Oh, I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, but since my guy is gone, I have to do it. I'm going to take Lamar Jackson here.
Interesting.
I'll give you a little. I picked Lamar. I wanted Justin Herbert because for me, Justin Herbert, he's in my tier 1 for quarterback here. I think he's going to have a great year. But Lamar is number 4 or 3. Watching Patty play, it's harder to move him down now. But Lamar is going to have a fantastic year, especially if you're in a 4-point for touchdown league. Running quarterbacks dominate. And there's no better running quarterback than the running back quarterback himself, Lamar Jackson. So give me some Lamar. I slander Lamar by calling him a running back, in your opinion, but for me, it's a praise. Like, if you're going to run the ball, you're going to be a fantastic quarterback at the position if you score touchdowns, and he does that.
I just prefer you call him a quarterback running back, not a running back quarterback.
He's a running back quarterback because he runs the ball fantastically. Ooh, DJ Moore. Okay.
We're off the board.
Yeah.
I should probably start looking at receivers.
I think you should go 5 running backs deep here.
Maybe I just keep loading up on the backs.
Yeah,
there are some guys I like there.
Antonio Gibson, J.K. Dobbins, Mitchell, Dillon, CH. I mean, you got some good picks here. Miles Sanders going down, reaching a little bit.
I'm going to go with a different pick here than I usually do, and I'm going to take Courtland Sutton.
Oh, nice. I love
a guy that I know you like after talking about Tuesday. I mean, he has a chance to be not only the number 1 target for Russell Wilson, but also a huge red zone threat. You lose Noah Fant, who is a big body that could score touchdowns. I'm just realizing I have Javonte, so I'm all in.
You are kind of going in back-to-back picks for you.
Yeah, I forgot. Wholeheartedly forgot about that. Right. So that wasn't on purpose. And do we want to go back to the receiver well?
I mean, we have some good wide receivers on the board. We have some good tight ends.
We're going quarterback. We're taking Kyler. I love Kyler.
Nice. Kyler's great.
I think I've talked about that in our quarterback episode. I think he is one of the lowest value, or not lowest value, lowest ADP of quarterbacks that I like. Underrated from that point of view. I also know in these sleeper mock drafts, quarterbacks go very fast. Normally like 20 quarterbacks taken. So
for no reason at all. I mean, people are doubling up on quarterbacks by like the 11th round. So it's going to be a weird draft if you're watching at home. That's just how Sleeper does it. ESPN, I enjoy ESPN's mock drafts a little bit more.
But those just take forever.
They take forever, and they're real people.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
Allen Robinson sighting.
Yeah. All right, we are on the clock. Looking at the team,
are you scared of relying on Brees Hall at all?
No. People are like, "Oh, the first half of the schedule is tough." Blah 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 blah.
It is tough.
It is tough, but he's a running back, baby. They're built different. They're built to run into the crowd of people. They are the firefighters of the National Football League. They run into trouble to save everyone else. Everyone else being their team, their owner, and the fire.
Their fantasy team
fantasy
manager
people.
Also.
Yeah. And the fire would be the defensive line that are all like 300 plus pounds and eat like Godzilla for breakfast. But this is Brees Hall's job. I mean, amazing athlete, not scared in the slightest.
I thought you were gonna say this is Brees Hall, which is a kinda cool sounding thing. I don't know what it really means, but it would have given me more confidence in him,
It would
so
have.
yeah.
I'm gonna. Oh, this is tough. I have to do it though. You talked me into him.
Well,
I
that's
am going.
something we don't like to see. I was hoping that he would fall all the way down to me at 6,
Yeah, I lost.
so
I did
that's
lose.
hurt.
I lost out on Kyle Pitts and Justin Herbert. So on my back to backs, I had to go Lamar and Dalton. Um, but yeah, Dalton Schultz. He kind of talked me into him. I feel like for the mock, this is a good position. Just looking at some of the tight ends.
Yeah, I get it. You took him out of
there.
spite. You took him out of spite. It's
Yeah,
okay.
you know.
I'm not gonna. I mean, I'll hold it against you, but
You can try.
that'll happen later.
God, I love it. And a guy who I am super excited about this year, Juju.
Juju.
Yes.
Early Juju sighting. Juju over some big names too.
Right, but Juju wouldn't have made it back to me. Brandon Cooks is always going to be. Brandon Cooks is always going to be a wide receiver too. Very consistent, not super sexy, but a lovely guy. Chris Godwin's hurt for the beginning half of the year, so he's not going to help with my Brees Hall struggles. And that's kind of what you have to look at. Brees Hall is going to struggle the first half of the year probably. And Chris Godwin, sorry, RIP. He's injured for the first half of the year. He's not going to be back to full self till midway to the end part of the year. So I need to kind of balance out my team. If you're picking at this spot, I need to kind of figure out who's healthy, who's going to have to rely on who for the first part of the year here.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty obvious spot to go receiver here, and probably unless I'm missing anybody here, I'm gonna go Michael Thomas. I don't feel great about having Michael Thomas by any means starting
so
for me.
You're not worried about him not being able to like come back to
full... Well, that's what I meant when I said I don't feel great about it.
Gotcha.
Because we just haven't seen him for 2 years, so you can't really feel great about a guy that you haven't seen for 2 years, unless you take CMC, of course.
Which was about to say you took.
Well, that's a whole different. That's a whole different story. It's not, but in my head, I've already made the decision that CMC is going to be awesome. I haven't quite made that decision with Michael Thomas, but if you look at who is on the board here, who has the upside to finish as a wide receiver 1, it's probably Michael Thomas out of all of these guys in my mind. Now I have a chance to do a couple things here. I have a chance to maybe pull a spite move.
You can try to do a spite move. You can.
I have a chance to better my team. I don't think that the person that I would take here would make my team a ton worse, but I have to do it. I'm going to take Mooney.
Oh, wow.
I figured that it was going to hurt Tony.
That's a low blow. I mean, I did Dalton Schultz as like a favor to you to like show that he should be drafted.
Well, me too. I like Darnell Mooney.
You just said it was a spite move. I mean,
it was a spite move, but that doesn't change the fact that I like Darnell Mooney. I probably wouldn't have taken him over Dillon, but anybody else really, it would have been a closer conversation. I actually want to look at my ranks here and see where I have Mooney in comparison to who is still on the board. Mm-hmm. I know I had him behind Dillon and then one other person who I'm not going to mention. So that's it, and that's about it. So he was one of the top receivers left for me to take. And I know you shouldn't look too much into the preseason, but looking at him and Justin Fields to start off the season or start off this preseason, there is a connection there. And he also is the only guy that he has. So that helps as well.
So I will take Adam Thielen here because
I was really hoping that he wasn't going to be on the board. That was a little disappointing. That kind of deflates my steal.
Dallas Goedert and Aaron Rodgers do go, I'm going to go with who I think could surprise a lot of people and be a top 12 fantasy running back this year. And that's going to be Tony Pollard.
You are big on the Pollard train.
I feel like I'm almost leading the Pollard train at this point.
The conductor.
I enjoy players like Cordell Patterson, who went way earlier than ADP. But that happens, so you just kind of got a plan. But Tony Pollard, Cordell Patterson, both of these guys are guys who utilize very limited touches to the fullest of their possible ability. And I love that for players. Love that for players.
I kind of got screwed. But I'm going to go with a guy that I do like a lot in Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz to start off the year can be awesome.
Did your guy not make it to you, Kondo?
Correct.
Was it Brandon Ayuk?
No. It was not Brandon Ayuk.
Was it Chris Olave? Because I feel like you're just like going deep into the Saints here.
No. I wasn't getting double up. I actually liked both. I mean, Rashad Penny has a chance to be a starter. I would have liked to have more running back depth there. I also like Devin Singletary. I think he has a chance to play a big role on a good offense. I haven't gone running back in a long time.
That is true, since your first 3 picks.
And I do like some of the names on the board, but I like one of the names at wide receiver more, and I think we know who that is. I'm going to take Robert Woods. I have Robert Woods as the top 24 wide receiver. So, at this point,
oh my God,
awesome get for me.
Yeah.
And a big name going off the board for Lil Boop right there.
Lil Boop going Trey Lance. Holy cow. In the 9th, too.
It makes more sense for this this league, but I figured you would have some issues with that pick.
I feel like that's a little rich, considering there's Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins. They're still on the board and they're 45 picks away. So, but it's okay because it's not my draft. I have to remember that. It's the Lil Boops. I'm gonna do something that you might not love.
Okay.
I'm gonna double up on my tight end right now.
Wow. So that's an early double up. That's an early bottom guy.
It's an early bottom guy. But Pat Freiermuth has a clear path to be a fantastic top 5 minimum tight end. Minimum top 5 tight end. People, I mean, there's some teams right here, like Team 10. Sorry. Look at Team 10 for a second.
Yep.
They got Travis Kelce. They're going top heavy. They are going to need an actual tight end soon. Team 8.
What do you mean? They're going to need an actual. They took Travis Kelce. What do you mean they're going to need an actual?
Right. But Travis Kelce, he's not Dalton Schultz, so Kondo. I mean, you are so high on Dalton Schultz. I feel like the praise alone.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I still have Dalton Schultz behind.
I mean, Team 8 does not have a tight end. Team 6 does not have a tight end. Both of those guys are going to have to eventually, if this was a real league played out,
no.
They would have to trade. They would potentially have to trade to get a comparable guy in which I could pick up someone nice. Oh my God, what happened, Kondo?
Board's coming up. We had some technical difficulties.
Okay. I will just elude my next pick.
It'll be up soon.
Okay, perfect. Oh, jeez. I am going to go with my sleeper wide receiver right now.
Oh, boy. George Pickens. Early George Pickens. And doubling up on the Steelers. He's all in on the Steelers.
I'm a firm believer that the Steelers are going to be fantastic this year.
How good is fantastic?
Well, for Pat Freiermuth, I feel like for a fantastic tight end season, it's 6 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. I don't feel like that's out of.
That is very good.
That is very good. I mean, it's a combination of Dalton Schultz, basically. And George Pickens, I feel like Deontay Johnson, I believe, was what, sixth in targets last year? I think he had like 100, might have been second.
He had a ton. I know that.
I believe he was only behind, no, he was only behind Cooper Kupp last year in terms of targets, was Deontay Johnson. I think George Pickens can fight for those targets. I think George Pickens is going to dog his way into this little fight here. So I want early George Pickens because I think he has a clear path to be a wide receiver too, at a minimum.
Interesting.
Geez. Okay, there it is. Whew. Where are we thinking here, Kondo?
I don't know. You got me a little excited going with the top and bottom thing. I'm I might
You bud.
I might have to do that. There is tight. You know what? I'm gonna go running back here, and if there's a tight end that I like with this next pick, I'm going bottom.
That would be a good spot to put the tight end.
So for running back, I'm gonna go Nyheim Hines. Similar to how
it.
you feel about Tony Pollard, I just think Hines is going to. I think he's going to have a big role. I think he's going to be involved. I think he's too good of a player not to be. I think he's probably the third best offensive weapon for the Colts right now.
Absolutely.
And he's going to catch passes, which is going to be points just right out the gate. I think he has definitely the chance to catch 60 passes this year. And I believe that in like a half-point PPR league, that's going to give him a stable enough floor. And when you watch the Colts in the preseason, who's starting the games when Jonathan Taylor is not? It's Nyheim Hines. He's out there for all 3 downs. I think he is the clear handcuff here if Jonathan Taylor were to ever go down. So
now, yeah, Kondo. So I'm right there with you. I love Nyheim Hines. I do have a question for you though.
Okay.
The Colts have a big 3, being Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines. The Packers kind of only have a big 3, but they have Aaron Jones, AJ Quadzilla, Dillon, and Aaron Rodgers. They don't really have a established wide receiver. They have a very hopeful and promising tight end who I think is going to be very touchdown receptive this year. Going to be a receptionist for all the tight ends on this team. But I don't think he's going to demand a lot of targets. But Nyheim Hines is going end of the 10th, whereas Quadzilla, he went beginning of the end of the 5th, beginning of the 6th. Why do you think the 4-round differential, 5-round differential between the two guys is?
I mean, in reality, AJ Dillon is probably going to score a few more touchdowns than Nyheim Hines. They're not really the same build. I feel like that's not a stretch to say.
That's not.
When you say built different, I think you can talk about both of these guys in a glowing manner, but they certainly are built different from each other. So that's probably part of it. Honestly, I don't think I have them that far apart in my rankings. If I am to look, I have AJ Dillon at 33. And where do I have? I have Nyheim Hines at 38. So not too far apart.
Yeah, we're right near each other. I got AJ Dillon 34 and Nyheim Hines 39, and I'm low on them. Admittedly low on those guys.
Mm-hmm. I have no clue where we're going to go here.
I have an idea. I have a great idea for you.
I'm receptive.
You're going to love it.
Okay.
He was the number 1 guy for the Falcons a couple years ago. He's playing with perhaps the GOAT of all time. Greatest of all time.
Are you talking Tyler Algier?
We are not talking Tyler Algier right now, but he is a guy I like. I was talking big Julio Jones. I think he's going to be a fantastic first half of the year guy for you. In case Michael Thomas is a little slow for you to start out, I'm thinking for your behalf here, a Julio Jones would fit your team quite nicely.
You know what? I'll take your advice. I'll go Julio Jones. I think you gave me a good sell.
Nice.
We got a McPherson off the board.
Oh my God, McPherson's already gone. Right before Lil Boop.
Little boom. How many quarterbacks do we have to have? I think we got to check in on that. Someone took Jalen Hurts, Matt Stafford. We don't have that many double ups yet.
You
So
only have 2 double ups, I believe.
Kirk Cousins is still there. Kirk Cousins.
I hate that Kirk Cousins is there, but people can sleep on Kirk Cousins all they want. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, Kirk Cousins could be a surprise sleeper to help win your league.
Back to Julio for a second. I do think that Julio, though maybe not necessarily my pick there if I was thinking completely on my own, would have been a pick down the line for me. And I think can be a pick down the line for me. Like I could see him falling to me in drafts and me taking him because like you said with Godwin, we don't really know how his role is going to be to start off the season. And even if Godwin is healthy to start off the season and playing all the snaps, getting all the reps and stuff like that, they had a number 1 guy there last year, a guy who was performing like a wide receiver 1, who was not Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. It was AB. So there's obviously a chance for another guy to prosper in that offense. And
there's no Gronk this year. So
that too.
I was kind of saying Julio kind of out of tongue in cheek, but at the same time, I don't think it's tongue in cheek to pick him up in the 11th as a guy who could potentially be a low end wide receiver 1, top end wide receiver 2, at least for the beginning part of the year, if not further on down the line, depending on how Chris Godwin holds up. I love it. I mean, I thought you were, in all actuality, I thought you were going to go with either Isaiah Spiller or Darrell Henderson just to get a nice chunk, because you do have fantastic running backs. I mean, you have CMC, Leonard Fournette, Javonte Williams, but on the off chance that Cam Akers gets hurt, Darrell Henderson's right there. Oh my God, all my defenses are gone.
Yeah, big run on defenses here.
Right. I will gonna have to put the big Jay Tucker in.
You went Justin Tucker in the 11th round. That's come on.
McPherson went off the board.
Who cares?
I care because
it's kickers.
You hate kickers. I love kickers.
I don't hate kickers. Just in fantasy football hates kickers. I don't hate kickers.
No. Since the defenses are going off here.
No, you don't go kicker defense.
Since the defenses are going off, I said, Kondo, we are going to go
Michael Gallup.
Michael Gallup, baby. Oh, because he's a horse, baby. He's a horse. He's a workhorse. He's out there.
I feel like you're taking a lot of my guys. Let's take a look at Toadie's team here.
Take a look at the team here. We have
switch.
Dalton Schultz. That's your guy. And we have Michael Gallup. That's
Adam Thielen. I don't think Adam Thielen's my guy, but I like Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen's on my Vikings. I mean, I feel like justifiably.
I do like Michael Gallup a lot, though.
I like Michael Gallup, especially if you can get him in the 12th round, he could potentially be a solid wide receiver 2 later on in the year for you.
He may have been my pick if I didn't take Julio Jones. Who knows?
Ooh, that would have been a setup there.
Yeah, Lil Boop might took my other guy I was going to take here.
Lil Boop? Lil Brian Robinson, huh?
I think so.
Oh, Commanders. Oh, my gosh. Dude's an absolute stud.
I'm going to go with a running back here. And I'm probably going to take Marlon Mack. We talked about Marlon Mack early on. And I think Some feelings have changed, certainly, but I don't feel as good about him keeping the starting job. But a
Right.
guy who may have a starting job is probably as good as you're going to find at this point in the draft.
Right.
Um, and then can't double up. I can't find my bottom.
Double, double, double.
I'm gonna probably go with one of these New England wide receivers, really just because I want to talk about them.
Nice. Do it. Do it.
And the question for me is who what do I need? This is kind of the point in the draft where you're reaching that point of I have some high floor guys, I have some high ceiling guys uh, at the wide receiver position. Like I think Robert Woods is going to be a high floor guy. I think Julio is definitely a swing for the fences. I think Cortland Sutton is definitely a swing for the fences. I think Michael Thomas is a swing for the fences. So maybe I need some more consistency here.
You have a lot of unknowns in your team. I think your most solid guys are probably playoff Lenny, Zach Ertz.
I think my most solid guy is CMC. I don't really know that anybody else is CMC and Kyler. I feel pretty like good about. I'm
I
not like the biggest fan of this team, if I'm going to be honest. Uh, but I want a consistent guy, and I think people sleep on how good Jacoby Myers was last year and just how safe he was. So I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers.
Wow.
He's just a safe floor option in my wide receiver room. If I need somebody to just go out there and get me 6 to 8 targets, I think he can be that guy.
I don't love Kobe Myers just mainly because he was on my team last year and he absolutely cost me everything. I mean,
What do you
quite literally.
mean?
He What do you mean? What do I mean? I mean, when he's in, he's your wide receiver too. You're not putting him in as your flex. And we don't play in a PPR league. He wasn't getting you any. In non PPR leagues, he only had 2 weeks above 10 fantasy points. And one of them was week 17, the other one was week 10. So you're
In
kind of
in like standard leagues or half point?
half point and standard. He was out there, in week 12 against the Tennessee Titans. He also got you that. But he was just a guy who was really hard for me to love last year. He has kind of cost me a little bit more than I was hoping. Ooh, there are some names out here. I will go for the wide receiver 3.
9 weeks. Yeah, before you go, Jacoby Myers does need to get more touchdowns. I think he only has like 2 in his career, and he got them last year. I'm banking on that to go a little bit, but I just think, yeah, I'm good with it for the point in the draft. It was anyway.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the number 3 guy.
Wow.
On potentially the number 1 offense in fantasy football this year. Dalvin Cook, JJ, Adam Thielen. Give me some KJ Osborne. I mean, KJ Osborne's fantastic. Heaven forbid anything happened to JJ, Adam Thielen, Irv Smith goes down again. I could see KJ stepping into a huge workload. And at this point in the draft, you're kind of looking for those upside guys, a guy who could kind of lead if you must. And my other guy might come to a little shock from you here, Kondo.
I think it's going to be, do I guess? It's okay. Chuba
Hubbard, baby. Want to know why? Because CMC will probably be injured. It's not far-fetched to say the past 2 years, if it's shown us anything, the inconsistency in which he is able to stay healthy. CMC is a fantastic talent. Number 1 player in fantasy football when he's on the field. But he's not on the field for the past 2 years. Michael Thomas-esque. So give me some Chuba Hubbard here who will just step into a gigantual monumentally life-altering workload when, not if, but when CMC happens to go down again. So give me all of that Chuba Hubbard. Give me all the Chubb, because I want it. I want it that way.
While on brand, I don't necessarily think that's true. Carolina Panthers signed Deontay Foreman this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Played pretty well for the Titans.
He
Chuba
did.
Hubbard has been consistently pretty doo-doo. I think to the surprise of a lot of people. I think you actually last year were like, Chuba Hubbard stinks. And I was like, no. And then Chuba Hubbard stunk.
Mm-hmm.
And then you took him.
Right.
I am surprised by that one. You
Right.
said I was going to be surprised, and I am. So with that goal in mind, I think you had a great pick.
Right. Let me just justify my Chuba Hubbard here for a second.
Okay.
In games in which he had 50% of the snaps as the starter, 50% of the snaps as a starter, in a PPR format, 10.9, 18.4, 13.5, 9.6, 13.1, and 15.8. And then a week that he only got 44%, he got 13.6. Underwhelming, not CMC numbers, but Zeke was putting up similar numbers. And if I can get Chuba Hubbard in the 14th round,
it's basically like taking Zeke.
It's actually a better Zeke because Zeke, you're paying. Where'd he go for us?
But Zeke, we also know, is going to be a starter, and Chuba Hubbard had somebody come in to take his job.
That is fair. But also, I didn't pick Chuba Hubbard in the second round. I picked him up in the 14th. 12 rounds later. I'm going for upside. When you're in this late spot, you're kind of going for upside. You don't want to, you could go for, wide receivers who've been there, done that, got you 6 points, 8 points, 9 points, whatever. Give me the guy who has the potential. He was a rookie last year. He was nervous, okay? Big shoes to fill. Everyone's like, CMC averages 89 points a game. You need to be CMC. That was the team he was on. That's just where the pressure was. No pressure this year. It's all going to be on CMC to stay healthy. No pressure on Chuba Hubbard to go out there and ball out. I love him.
Second, I'm doing some serious research here.
That's okay. Do research. I want this to be the most educated we can give it.
I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
You said he had some big shoes to fill. CMC is actually a size 9 shoe, which is the same size as I. If oiclass.com is correct. And to be honest, I don't think I have a big shoe. I think I have a pretty normal size shoe. So he had normal size shoes to fill.
Well, Kondo, maybe you just have big feet. Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to. I don't have the time to look that up as well to see what the average size foot of a man is. And maybe in America, America. We could do this all night. But I agree with you on one thing. You do have to take upside. You want to take a guy here that could probably finish top 10, top 5 at their position. Maybe top 3, maybe top 1. And I'm going to double up just at a different position. I'm going Justin Fields, obviously.
Oh, my God. You did this out of spite. I mean, this is no.
I did it.
This mock draft isn't real anymore. I mean, this is just pure baloney.
I have the stack. Darnell Mooney.
Don't.
So when that offense goes off, I'm gonna really load up. I might not even need Kyler. Cody said Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet going to be top options this year. If that's going to happen, Justin Fields obviously going to have to be a beast, like we both think that he's going to be. So
Justin Fields will not be a beast. I will say this: Justin Fields is a guy who has the most to lose going into the season.
I don't think he's going to lose anything. I
I
don't know.
think
I would
that
agree with that. I think there's guys with more to lose.
I don't know. I think if you're going in here and you're trying to find a guy, at what point do you give up on a franchise quarterback? Or in the
Probably after you see him perform, when you give him, not a mid-level or mid-major college team around him.
that just seems like a low blow.
I mean, he does not have what he should have, I would say. Both went defenses. I took the Colts because they do take the ball away a lot, but mainly just because of that. You go Kenny Pickett with the last pick.
I'm going full stack with Kenny Pickett, Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens.
Okay.
Now, hear me out. I want to have a chance to justify this team for. If you could go to my team, Kano, that'd be helpful. So the people.
Yeah. Once we finished, I was gonna look through everybody.
My team is now done.
J15 Kin, Lil Boop is.
Yeah, Lil Boop's
really thinking this one through.
Yeah. So this is my team here.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up full screen once I can do
I love
so.
it. I mean, do you not like Kenny Pickett?
I don't think you need to draft him, I will say.
I don't think you need to draft Justin Fields either. But since we're drafting Justin Fields in the 14th
I think that
round,
Justin Fields should be drafted ahead of Kenny Pickett. I will say that.
Which he was 3 full rounds ahead. I mean, you picked him up in the 15th or the 14th. I picked him up in the 16th. I think it's
3 full. Well, that's semantics anyway.
Yeah, 3 full rounds because he's on that line. Then there's another line.
Well, that's not 3 full. 3 full rounds would be 36 picks later, I believe.
3 rounds later. Sorry, 3 rounds later. All right, let's see your last pick of the draft. Let's see where you're gonna go with this. You don't have a kicker, so I feel like you have to pick a kicker.
Yeah, I'm looking more so for names. I like that these guys all have a purple next to the kicker spot. You can see the purple dot there. And then this guy has a black dot, which I think is kind of cool. I would typically not draft a kicker, so this is just purely for this. I would recommend not drafting a kicker, nor maybe a defense, unless you get a defense you really like. I'm between the guy with 3 names and the guy with the black dot, and I'm going to go Tai Long. Tai Long's and you can't even see him on the board, which I enjoy. I think maybe even more so. That's as high as we can get it. Look at the teams here.
Right.
We got the Toady squad.
Toady squad up, baby. Let me just justify the squad here to the people watching at home. The starting roster here, I don't know if it could be any less solid. I think it's probably the most upside you could possibly get. You have Lamar, you have Alvin, you have Brees. All of these guys are fantastic runners at their respective levels. Brees Hall was a fantastic runner back in college. We're about to see him be a fantastic runner on the Jets. Stephon Diggs and Juju are both going to be a number 1 wide receiver for their team. I think that's a fair assessment to make. Dalton Schultz is a guy that Kondo has thrown all of his love and affection into.
I wouldn't say all of it, but a lot this year. Like, not as much as Najee last year.
Right.
But I would say he's one of the top guys that I've kind of thrown that bucket of love into.
Yeah. I'm right. Yeah. And I don't think, I wasn't able to get my tight end I wanted. I did want Kyle Pitts. He was supposed to fall to me, and Jay Herbert, but both those guys got snagged in the 2 picks right before me. They were supposed to, because I was supposed to be high on Kyle Pitts. Anyway, I have Adam Thielen in my flex. I think Adam Thielen could also be substituted out for Tony Pollard once Pollard assumes the role as the running back 1 for the Cowboys here. I think that could be an easy swap. I think it's going to be a great game day decision. And then for my bench, I have the complete stack for the second half of the year of Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, Pickens, picking the Pickets, baby. That's how we do it. And Patty Fryermuth. The triple P's. Power, persuasion, popcorn. Anyway, we're put the 3 stack on. We're giving them an easy week here. I don't know, something nice and simple. Probably Baltimore, maybe Atlanta week 13.
Wait, you're not playing them till week 13?
No, I'm saying week 13 will be just an example.
Okay. You're going to have to wait until the last week of the season to really see it.
Well, I'm not saying you anyway. I'm not saying that is the first time. I'm saying playoff time of being right there. You get the 3 stack. Pat Fryermuth catches a touchdown. George Pickens catches a touchdown. What is that? Normally only 12 points. But you have Kenny Pickett being your quarterback throwing the touchdowns. That's 2 touchdowns for Patty. That's another touchdown for Patty. That's a 3rd touchdown for Pickens. You just quadrupled stacked up, if the math serves me right, which it does. That's a fantastic stack. In the playoffs, that's kind of what you're looking for, is a stack. I feel like stacking, especially around playoff time, is important to try to take the step above your team, as long as you have a valuable stack.
It's an upside swing. And certainly an interesting one when you talk about valuable stacks. I think many people are going in the year saying the Pittsburgh stack is the most valuable stack, but it is a stack.
I mean, I want you to assess.
You have the Baltimore stack as well.
I do have Lamar, and I also have J Tuck. So if they can't score it on the ground with Lamar, they're going to kick it through with J Tuck. I love that as a stack. I don't really have too many other stacks, I don't think. I mean, I have.
You have the Minnesota wide receiver stack.
Yeah, I do. I have the potential stack there.
You have the tight end wide receiver Dallas stack. And you have you don't have it yet, but I'm thinking there's going to be a Browns stack eventually.
The Browns are probably after week 1. I think they have a pretty. It's Carolina. Baker's going to go out there. He's going to throw 6 interceptions to try to prove to the Browns why they made a mistake in trading him away. And in doing so, he's going to have a little temper tantrum, get himself, in trouble. Myles Garrett's going to go over there and feast. So I think, and then week 2, they're playing the Jets. Week 1 and 2, they're absolutely going to dominate. I think we could make an easy trade up for perhaps the Colts defense, maybe the Bills, maybe just.
You're not getting my Colts defense.
Well, I mean, that seems like a you problem at that point. But Kondo, I do want you to take an honest assessment for our fantasy football listeners who will be watching this. Schoolyard system rating, what would you give the team? A+ through F-. Where would you?
Can I go with a number? I feel like letters.
Okay.
0 through 10. I don't think it's a bad team. I'm going to be pretty strict. Like, I'll tell you. I want you to give me. I want you to give me yours as well. I can go first if you want me to. Yeah. I'm going to go with. You know what? In the spirit of the tight end stack, we got a top and we got a bottom. I think I'm going to give you a straight 6.9.
Nice. I do love it. Tell me tell me the reasons why you would advise people to or not to follow this sort of draft strategy.
I think it depends on your personal ranks. Like, I think that there's just guys that I think are a little bit more risky here. But I think that's probably the biggest thing is that we just have different interest when it comes to running backs. Like,
Right.
besides Alvin Kamara,
Mhm.
I don't think there's a chance that I have any of these other running backs on my team.
Okay.
And that's just because of like my value on them. Like, I don't think that I mean, there's guys that we're going to be wrong on, especially when it comes to running back position. It's pretty volatile in that regard. I'm a little bit worried about like the Camara thing. I'm a little bit worried about Brees Hall. We talked about that in the Jets show, I believe, or the running
Yep.
back show, one of the
Yeah,
two.
running back show.
And I think that's probably my biggest concern. I
Yeah.
do like some of the pieces here. I like Thielen, Gallup, Schultz, obviously, Diggs,
Mhm.
and Kamara if he can, be on the field for all those
Right.
games. I don't think that I think it's just a very different like strategy
Very different.
than what I would go with.
I will give myself a little bit of a grace here. I give myself a 7.8.
Okay.
Because 7, 8, 9, if I wanted to bring it out a number. But I'm with you. I think my running back situation is high risk, high reward. That's kind of how
That's very fair.
that's my threat assessment for my team. I think I have very solid wide receivers and I have a great depth of wide receiver. I have Stephon Juju, Adam Thielen, Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, and George Pickens. KJ Osborne and George Pickens are debatable. I like their upside. But I think Michael Gallup, when he's healthy, could demand a lot of targets. Adam Thielen's going to be great. I think my wide receivers are great. I have a fantastic quarterback. I have a tight end that's growing on me. Jay Tucker, the most sturdy guy out there. Cleveland defense could be a lot worse. So it's kind of just my running back situation with these guys could be guys who win you your league or they're going to lose your league.
So what was your number grade?
7.89.
7.89. There
Yep.
we go. All right. It says my kicker, but okay, I took a punter. But that would be it.
Oh my God.
So,
I thought it was wrong.
it's
We're
tough.
going to have to. We
Yeah,
will.
there's gonna have to be points, obviously. That
Minus 0.5 points automatically. I'm sorry. Just have to do it.
I'll let you give your number first and talk about like
Yeah.
your stuff, and then I'll give my number and say what I think about this. I mean, I guess I can go through first, and
Yeah.
then I can give it a
Talk about your
number.
team. You drafted them. Talk about your team.
Yeah, I took quarterback earlier than I thought I would. I didn't necessarily go chalk or maybe even like what I would have went or with my rankings kind of went a little bit different just to see how things would work out. I'm intrigued by the build of this team. I don't hate it. I wish I had a little bit more running back depth. That is something that I'm pretty worried about with this squad in particular, which is wild for the amount that we have at the top.
Yeah.
And then I'm worried about not necessarily the upside, but the safety of some of the wide receivers. I think it's a solid team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna have like too many complaints about it. But I do wish that I had a little bit more of a like clear wide receiver one going
Yep.
into the year. That would probably be my biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably give this like a 7-3.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
7-4, but yeah.
Yeah. I would just start at the top, work my way down, I guess. Kyler Murray in the 5th, I think, has tremendous upside. Let me try to find Kyler real quick here for
Yeah,
me.
I think there's a chance you could get him lower
You
in
could definitely
other
yeah.
in other formats, but in these sleeper mocks, there was no way that he was going to fall.
No. I think this is kind of I think Sleeper does a great job at picking people really early, just like home leagues will. Where Kyler is going to have to go in the 5th round, early 5th round, or you might not get him. So Kyler, I don't hate. CMC, I am worried about. I think it's a little shaky, but that's natural when you've been banged up with soft tissue injuries for the past 2 years. I think that's a natural fear to have, where it's not like he broke a femur and then he got turf toe. It's just quads tightened up, just can't run anymore, and you're worried about that. But I do like CMC. Worried about him, but I like him. Playoff Lenny, solid guy. Love Cortland Sutton. Love the upside of Michael Thomas. Zach Ertz is going to be fantastic. Love that you got him in the 8th. That's a great value.
That was a good value.
Javonte Williams, third round guy. I like it. I think Russ is going to alleviate some of the pressure. Melvin Gordon might alleviate some of the pressure. But in tow, I think Javonte goes down a little bit too, just naturally with there being so many mouths to feed.
Interesting.
I don't hate it. Love me some Darnell Mooney. Love in the Indianapolis Colts. Not big on Robert Woods.
Undraftable.
Undraftable for me, so that's going to have to be another -5 here.
Yeah.
Naeem Hines, I do like that. I don't think it's terrible. Love Marlon Mack, Jacoby. I don't like Justin, and I don't know why you picked up a punter, but hey, tie long. My tie is not long, so it's a short tie. I love it. I will give you I think I give you a 7 flat.
Interesting.
You have a lot of guys I like, but you also have some you don't really have the depth.
Some undraftable guys.
You have some undraftable guys. You literally have 2 undraftable guys and Ty Long. So I mean, it's not. You have CMC up there too. So actually, I feel like 6.5 is too low. But I feel like it's a justifiable assessment just based off.
That sounds like a spike move. You just said it was too low, and then you gave it.
No. I said I'll give you the 7, even.
Okay.
But I wanted to give you a 6.5, but I felt like 6.5 is just too biased for actual opinion. We do have a third guy if we can somehow get him on here.
I think we need to make this decision. There's somebody who wants to enter the stream. Do we let them in the stream? The fact that they just showed up to now want to talk about their team.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're giving 5 minutes of screen time.
I actually say I'm going to start a timer and I'm going to give him 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds.
And that's the max amount of time that he gets.
Yeah. We're
to talk about his team. Let me pull this timer up.
You have the timer?
Yeah, I'll pull up the team so we can give him a full 30.
Yep. Jesus. Okay.
But as soon as he's on.
I think as soon as he starts talking. Once he starts talking, we give him the 30 seconds.
Okay. As soon as he starts talking. As soon as he opens his mouth, the timer starts.
There he is. The man himself.
Somebody who may or may not have drafted or have relatives who drafted this team.
Yeah.
Our co-host that has been gone for
2 weeks.
A long time.
He's been delivering a baby. It's been fantastic.
We're giving him 30 seconds. Whenever you're ready.
I'm back from my hiatus. All right. We got Austin Eckler at the 105. I still think that's great value. We saw Isaiah Spiller go down with an injury. He's questionable for week 1. And honestly, I don't think his presence in the backfield really hurts Austin Eckler. And then we got Mark Andrews, again, a great draft value at the 2. And then the rest just speaks for itself. I can't say enough good things about this team.
That was. I mean, wait a second. How'd he come back?
How'd he come back? He came back just like that.
He revived. I don't know how he came back.
He revived.
I mean, it was.
I do agree with your Austin Eckler pick. I think that you got a little lucky with him dropping to the 5. I think. I think that's in a good way though. I just like that he spent a solid 15 to 20 seconds of his time talking about the Austin Eckler pick. Enjoy it.
Which may have happened to anybody. When you're on the clock for 30 seconds, I think that puts a lot in your head.
I do have a question for you, Kenny. Amon-Ra St. Brown being your flex, though. Comfort going into the year of Amon-Ra being your wide receiver 2/flex. How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good about it. I mean, Amon-Ra is still. I don't think we see Jameson Williams got he's obviously hurt and on the NFI list. There's really no sure sign of when he's going to return. They did sign DJ Chark. I just think overall this Detroit offense is going to be better overall. Another year in the Dan Campbell offense. Another year for Amon-Ra to develop. So I have really high hopes for Amon-Ra and think he'll be a great flex on my team, wide receiver 2, maybe even the 1. I mean, he was performing, almost as good as Cooper Kupp toward the end of last season. And I know we're not really supposed to bring in last season stats into this. Appreciate that. Back from my hiatus, pilgrimage. Anyways, but yeah, Amon-Ra, I feel good about him. I have him in my dynasty league. He's probably one of my most coveted players on my roster.
Nice.
So
I agree with that too.
Trying to grab him everywhere I can.
I really like him as a flex.
The 6th felt a little strong, but I like your reasoning for it, and I don't think I can hate on it. Amon-Ra is a fantastic talent.
And we're looking into the preseason, looking into everything. I mean, you can take words however you want to take them, but it does seem like he's their guy. It doesn't seem like they're venturing too far away from Swift and Amon-Ra being the heart of this offense.
Right.
Yeah. I just think, with a young core too, and just given how Jared Goff does always, he's not really a deep threat guy. He's more of, kind of throws within that 15 to 20 yard range, which I feel like is right in Amon-Ra's, repertoire per se. So yeah, give me all shares of Amon-Ra here.
Nice.
So
now, Kenny, what would you rate your team here out of 10?
This team out of 10, I think I'd be pretty happy with those 2 starting running backs. And just given the news that Darrell Williams is most likely going to be released or traded, definitely boosts James Conner's value. We even saw when Chase Edmonds went down last year, that James Conner just took off. So I am still holding hope out for James Conner. Again, he could be, he could miss a game or 2, but I'll take the upside over, in all the other weeks. Than just having to miss a couple games. I mean, you're getting the same thing from Dalvin Cook. I know they're 2 different offenses, but kind of the same role, I guess. I'd probably give this team like a humble 7-6.
Well, that's not very humble. I think that's the highest score that we have all day.
No, I gave myself a 7.89, but my team was also better than this, so I think it was justifiable. Your wide receivers are a little scary for me. DJ Moore, Allen Robinson. When was the last time Baker Mayfield had a wide receiver 1? I don't think that was happening very often. Trey Lance kind of frightens me a little bit. I don't think I've been.
I think you've made your opinion known.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that. Your bench isn't the worst. It just scares me a little bit. I think Chase Edmonds is a good pick. I like Brandon Ayuk. I don't hate that. James Robinson's a hopeful.
Got the Ayuk Trey Lance stack.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have
we
that.
We do all of our stacks.
I do like stacks, so that's why I said I don't hate it. James Robinson, I don't love Rondell Moore, Brian Robinson, or Kenny G, and I don't love Joshua Palmer. So sadly, Kenny, I'm going to have to give you 6.869. I think it's going to have to be my final answer.
I'll take
Not
it.
not quite a 6.9, not quite nice, but 6.869 is probably gonna have to be my go-to for you.
I'm gonna probably give Kenny a score around where mine was. I'm probably gonna give him like a 7.4. I like his bench a lot. I like Brian Robinson. I said that I was going to take him, so
You did.
he stole that one from me. And I also like the 3 wide receivers. I have a lot better of a time having Amon-Ra as my wide receiver 2 and Allen Robinson as my flex. So I just flip those in my head and it looks fine. And then Mark Andrews. I think nobody's really talked about so far the value that he can bring, especially when you talk about I think that's what makes it a little bit better than my team is that I have those 3 running backs, but the positional value of the tight end, I like my tight end, but not many guys are Mark Andrews. So taking Mark Andrews there, having a weekly advantage, and also having, in my opinion, 2 really solid running backs, maybe even one of those top running backs. And then having 3 receivers that I would like, and then a tight end that I would like as well. I think everyone would like. That's a pretty solid build out. I'm gonna go 7. I think I said 7.4. I'm gonna go 7.5.
I guess. Oh, you two calm down. Kitties are fighting at my feet. No,
That'll happen.
Yeah. I mean, I like us. I love Austin Eckler. Love Mark Andrews. James Connors is solid. I don't know. Wide receiver, quarterback kind of scares me. Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
I don't know if you're supposed to draft safe or draft risky, but I was kind of
you draft risky with a high hope that DJ Moore will actually catch a football this year. So I appreciate that risk.
He didn't have 1,000 yards last year.
Didn't Kyle Pitts have 1,000 yards?
Yeah, but Kyle Pitts is going ahead of DJ Moore.
Good, as he should. Kyle Pitts is on the rise. DJ Moore is on the ground. That's a real top or bottom for you.
I mean, DJ Moore finishes the wide receiver 18, which with nobody at quarterback, basically. So if he has even just a little bit of something, I think he should be okay. I don't feel great about I think that's the trade-off of getting Mark Andrews, right? That's the trade-off of having that tight end that's going to lift it. So you can have 2 maybe riskier or a few maybe riskier wide receivers there. But anyway.
Love me some Mark Andrews, though. Mark Andrews is going to be great for you, Kenny.
I think we've talked enough. I think people are probably – we're an hour and 38 minutes in. Yeah. It's probably about time to call it. But good draft all the way around, despite whether we liked your teams or not. I would love to have the numbers on who took the longest because I think it might have been us, but I would have loved to see how long Kenny took because there were some times that he was really pondering.
He was thinking deep and hard here.
I was in deep thought.
Yeah. Hey.
Which sometimes you need. Sometimes you need for a draft. But that's it for us. We will be back next week with probably another mock draft.
Mm-hmm.
And are we going to talk defenses? Are we going to talk kickers? Who knows? Who knows what next week holds for us? But we will be back Tuesday and Thursday. Check us out. We'll see y'all then.